Hey guys, just giving you it's coming into fruition as we live nowadays. So back in late 2016, I told you, if you really start looking at all the higher end systems that are here with religion, what you'll start to realize is that ecumenism is a failure. And you either know God or you know Satan. And again, God was love. So you got love. Satan was submission. You got submission. You can tell the submission thing when Satan was in control for 2,000 years. Some of the remnants we have are Hammurabi's code. Somebody steals, you cut off his hand. Somebody cheats, you stone him. Right? Like these were things even before the stoning laws of the Jews were there. But needless to say, you can understand where your creator or your God is. And at the end of the day, the Illuminati and all the satanic shit, it doesn't jive. Like I had always a problem with the Illuminati idea, which is really just this witch conspiracy where they all repeat these same spells and tell you what they're going to do ahead of time, hoping to God you'll believe in whatever the hell they believe in. And it culminated this year in the Met Gala, and you can just see it as they're mocking the Catholic Church, which is basically Satan telling you, ha 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 ha, I've perpetrated the Catholic Church, which most of us Protestants have known since Martin Luther, right? It's not a big surprise to us, ha 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 ha. But the problem is to the Satan people, we've infiltrated your church too, ha 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 ha. But again, it's neither here nor there. When you understand the difference between determination and free will, and you get right in the middle there, you can understand that everything was prescripted into Lamb's Book of Life, and it is what it is. Now, all I can do is extend the path, right? So if my calculations are correct, we probably don't have very much time from the following of the Jerusalem embassy where we're going to see a Muslim uprising. And this is going to be the anarchist war that'll start the period of lawlessness. So just think about it. America is going to be lawless. You're going to have all the Christians taken out of, well, at least the good Christians. You're going to have them taken out of the U.S., and it's going to be power vacuum, and you're going to have the hard right conservatives versus the left fascists, which are in their own rights really ridiculous. So you're going to have these people who believe in neo-Marxism against the same people who believe in law and order. And guess what? On the law and order side, you're going to have probably a lot more crazies than you're going to have on the far neo-Marxist side, because you guys can't even get along with each other. You couldn't even get a Hillary elected. Why you fucked Hillary? Needless to say, the battles are all starting to assume, and the funny thing is I can see the paradoxical far right, and I can see the paradoxical far left, and I know the middle ground, and the middle ground always comes down to the monotheistic religions. That's why Jerusalem is going to be a burdensome stone. This was predicted in the Old Testament, the New Testament. We knew it was going to be here. The problem is that most of us think about our current circumstances and situations. They don't look at the larger system. And when I did the larger system and I did the reverse Hegelian dialect, I can understand that it all does come back to Jerusalem. It does come to the stone. You have the Jews that actually follow God, that's your Israelites, and then you have your non-Jews who think they follow God, which is Allah. That's the system that Paul was warning us about. And then you have your genuine natured Christians. And we have our own splits. I can go into all those dichotomies, but quite frankly, if Christ isn't your center crux, you're probably not possessing the Holy Spirit, and you're probably not making it to the Father. But you can ask for salvation if you can make it to the wine press. And if not, die for Christ's testimony. Those are your two best options. Everything else is going to take you back into the fight of self. And you can find the fight of self within the Word of Islam. And the funny thing is if you actually start understanding the advanced ideologies behind Islam, if you understand the propagation of abrogation. So Islam believes that a newer and better version replaces the prior, which is the same horseshit that we hear from liberals, is that we are more refined in our current environment. But we define refined as having 27 genders. Are you serious? You define being refined as living in front of a computer and not having to grow plant in your backyard and sustain your family and care about people around you, being full of self and money and everything else was done in such a good society, right? Right? No. We're a bunch of selfish bastards. And it befuddles me because it's just tiring. So while you guys are all thinking about yourself, I'm getting tested in the point where I get to watch my brother die, I get to watch my child go through serious illness, and I sit here and I'm like, God, take mercy on these people because we are in the near end times here. And see, my heart goes out to people. I just love good people. And I understand that in the end here, it's going to be brother against brother. And I'm starting to see it precipitously pick up. I'm seeing kind of the craziness in terms of polarities hit me too. So I woke up this morning. I literally went through a day that was told to me, at least if I followed my apps right, that it was going to be a black, dreary day and it was going to be rain. And literally my outside of my office was black all day as I'm solving puzzles. Because that's all I do is I solve puzzles. And then after I solved the puzzle, and it ended up where the entire forecast cleared out and there was light all day. Light. And did it coincide anything? Yes, it coincided to the Jerusalem embassy being finished with their ceremony. Which reminds me of the fact that now the Jews are about to fight the Arabs, and God's going to protect the Jews, or at least 144,000 of them, and the Arabs are going to start uniting. And what people don't realize is the final beast, who can make war with the beast. It's not going to be these stupid-ass Satanists who try and kill everybody in this Illuminati concept. It's a great theory. I mean, it's a nice tie-off of the Roman concept, but you're following a religion that freaking got destroyed by Nimrod, so that really didn't count. But we got reconciled back into the other one, which is Islam, which is going to be the power religion. Because once you get that one guy who runs that 8th caliphate, you're going to realize this guy is going to proclaim himself as a god. Because it's abrogation, right? His religion allows him to call himself better. Our religion's not. And quite frankly, I wouldn't want to be. Like, the whole idea of being a god, the whole idea of what Genesis reconciles back to, right? You will surely be a god. You will surely never die. These were Satan's biggest lies. So how do you look at it? Do you want to become a god? I'd rather serve God and serve the people around me. I don't know what you want to do, but that's kind of where I'm at. But the problem is if you believe you're not surely going to die, or you think that you're going to be a god, you're serving the liar. And the liar is going to be the person you're relying on to help sustain you for all eternity. And the problem is you were probably involved in selfish natures and selfish endeavors, and your whole religion was based on a lie, right? In the Met Gala, you got Rihanna playing as the Pope. Now what I do as a Pope, just like I wouldn't call Muhammad my prophet. Do I want somebody who kills a shitload of people and rapes less than 10-year-old girls? False religion. And if you can't identify it with values, I mean, you just find it, you have to deal with logic eventually. You have to wake up and say, if I'm always serving myself and I serve myself to the greatest ends, what ends up happening? Let's go for the sins of the world. We got lust. If I just constantly have sex with people left and right, eventually what happens? Talk to anybody who's gone through sex addiction. They feel a vacancy. They feel a void. They feel enslaved by just constantly seeking pleasure. It's the same thing with alcoholism. It's the same thing with greed, right? There's not enough money to make me happy. Well, of course there's not. Because the only thing you're serving is yourself. And if you serve yourself to the point where you're at that point of excess, you'll never be happy. None of us will be. I mean, I'd certainly find myself happy in a room full of like 10 really hot chicks wearing lingerie, but that wouldn't serve me as a, faithful person who's trying to live the best life he can. That would call the danger zone, right? You put yourself in the position where you're tempted to be outside of control or simplicity. And as much as we can understand the spirits and everything around us, what you can understand is the Holy Spirit. And the Holy Spirit is one of joy, patience, peace, tranquility. And if you're not focused on those, and you're not trying to understand what the Father really intended for a long-term period, then you don't understand what it's like to live for eternity. Because if you don't have any of those concepts of living around others and loving others, the rest of it just doesn't matter, because it's only going to be about fulfilling something that makes you feel happy, and that'll be temporary. But if you're living around the people you love, and the people you love are constantly building you up, you can actually keep building. It's a block that just keeps moving. It's not the process we have here, which is, create, build, destruct, which that's part of the Hegelian dialectic philosophy. You just get over it. But again, brothers and sisters, pay attention to Jerusalem. When the Islamic uprising happens and you start seeing the world rebel against what the current system is, don't be surprised if your current ideology of the world changes. And if it changes for the worse, as in you assume that everybody's trying to make it a different thing, just remember, the status quo was first violated when the Palestinians and the world politics underneath Barack Obama switched everything over in terms of lineage, in terms of history, on the favor of the Palestinians or the Canaanites. It wasn't until Donald Trump came back with the Israelites and flipped it. So if you're looking at history, remember who started these pivots. I understand the pivots. And the first pivot occurred from Barack Obama, the UN, and the Palestinians. They had their reign in the sun. Now Israel's had their reign in the sun. Now that means the Palestinians are going to get their reign in the sun again. And then you're going to realize the rest of the world's going to challenge it. And the Palestinians are going to rule again. Remember, Christ told us, greatest will be least, least will be greatest. He was telling us about the cyclicality. Once you're punctioned in the middle, you'll start realizing it's happening. I love you all. Keep your eyes open. It's happening soon.